Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Vincent von Garrett. What is the best gift that says, "I know you're cheating"? I, male 28, just discovered my girlfriend, female 25, is cheating on me with one of her coworkers. She doesn't know that I know, and I would like to break it to her with a Christmas gift, but I am running short on ideas for anything that doesn't borderline illegal. Oof. Well, OP, I guess it would have to depend on what you actually want to do. Do you want to make it public that she's a cheater, or do you want to just tell her that you know so she feels bad and takes the guilt in that moment and you just break things off and go build yourself back up again? If it was me, I'm pretty boring regarding this because I just wouldn't want to give her too much of my energy. I would just be like, you know what? I know what you're doing. We are done here. I'm taking my things, or you're moving out or something like that. And it's done. You don't need to talk, you don't need to think about her anymore. Why would you want to waste your time and energy on somebody who truly doesn't even deserve it? Better to use that time and energy and focus on yourself and, getting yourself back together. However, if you still want to do this, there are a lot of ideas out there on the internet. I'm sure you can find more than a few. For example, one of the stories that I've read, the guy actually went and got the family of the cheater and took them to their house while she was cheating on him. And the family saw the whole thing. Other people have just taken their things or moved out while their partner is at work, stuff like that. Personally, I'd just leave without giving them any satisfaction of them trying to gaslight me or tell me that I abandoned them and that's why they cheated. You know what? I don't need that crap. I just need to get myself better and move on. Anyways, what do you guys think about this whole thing? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's go check out what the community had to say about this. Meganox says, get her a nicely framed photo of the guy she's cheating on you with. You can probably get a decent one on his Facebook, and a cheap frame from Walmart. Slap a bow on it. Lol. While that is petty, I honestly think you shouldn't let it get to that point and just end it in a mature manner. TSTDDJ says, do it like the epic internet cheater guy. Leave web history for rings and honeymoon vacations, or accidentally leave open browser tabs with searches. Make a friend call home that the engagement ring is ready to be picked up. At Christmas Day, make it look like you're going to propose. Bonus, do it in front of her family. Make a long rom-com crap talk about how much she means to you so she'll start crying, and at the end, give her a neatly packaged cheap framed photo of this guy and loudly say, "I know you're cheating and you have until the new year to get out of my apartment if she's living with you. Record everything in case she tries to accuse you of assault, stealing, or similar." Estuary King Bai says, wrap up an empty jewelry box filled with a note saying whatever you want to say to her and give it to her on Christmas, or you can literally put her things in a box on the porch and go ahead and break up with her right now instead of waiting till Christmas. Purple Temperature says, is it worth staying with her and pretending to be happy for 3 full weeks? If you're going to go through this, give her the gift early. If you actually want to get back at her and make her regret her actions, cut off all communication with no prior warning. You'll be surprised at how effective this is. And Deleted says, a friend of mine did something that actually worked. He did not gift her, but him, pretending to be her. Give him a picture of her anonymously. He will talk to her about it. She must remember that you took the picture though, and you'll probably hear about that gift. Alright, so those were the top 5 ideas that the community gave OP on how to go about this. Now, OP did not reply to any comments and didn't give us any context, but in his update, he gave us the full story. So let's now move on with that to see how this story ends, and even though it is a little bit early for this, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's go get that full story. I apologize for the late update and I appreciate everyone's advice I received in the original post. A little backstory first because I left it out of the original post. Let's call my now ex-girlfriend Beth. I am myself, my roommate is Bruce, and the other guy gets a name later. Bruce and I have lived together for going on 4 years. Beth and I started talking close to 3 years ago. Beth lived in another state. I used to live there and that's how we met. And we talked for a year before deciding it was time to move her up here. There is more opportunity and overall a better quality of life. So she moved up here and everything seemed fine. She got a job and started making friends. Now, Bruce and my lease was up at the end of last year. Beth and I started looking for places to call our own finally. We found pretty much the perfect place. This is where things start to falter a little. A few days around Thanksgiving, I noticed her texting non-stop all day long, which isn't necessarily out of the ordinary since she has several group chats with her friends up here and back home. The part that really stood out to me was that she was lying next to me and texting a number that wasn't saved in her phone at 1:30 in the morning. I ask who she is talking to and she says her friends and Mike. I'm curious as to who Mike is because it's not one of the friends she normally mentions, and she says she works with him. Fast forward a few days and I have to get up early to open my store. I go to swap the phone charger from my phone to hers, and when I do, her backlight lights up and shows a message from this unsaved number saying, "Hey beautiful, I just got home." This definitely piques my curiosity. I'm off the next day and she works early in the morning, so I stayed up and drank while she went to bed early. At about 3 a.m., my drunken curiosity gets the better of me and I go grab her phone and head to the bathroom. She had basically been lying for a couple of weeks about them hanging out and cuddling and saying that she felt more chemistry with him than anyone else. I was taken aback and I was hurt. I waited another couple of days and did it again. This time, Beth was talking crap about my roommate, Bruce. She was making plans to go to Zoo Lights for a date with Mike and his friends. She was telling him how she would have left earlier in the year but didn't want to screw me on the lease. She was just going to suffer through being with me for a few more months and basically set it up for this guy to wait while they discussed when they could hang out around my work schedule. She and I were still planning on getting that place too. We had signed the lease, paid the deposit, and we were just waiting to take control of the property. The next morning, after reading through the messages, I went down to the apartments we were going to get and I asked them to cancel our contract. Since we hadn't taken possession of the property, they were able to cancel it and keep the holding fees we paid. In order to cancel it, they needed both parties to confirm the cancellation. So they had to call her and ask if that's what she really wanted to do. I ran into an issue here. How do I cancel this without letting her know that I know she is cheating? So I lied. I called and told her I found a place for 3/4 the price and was closer to my job and would save us a ton of money in the next few months. She said it sounded like a good idea and I convinced her to agree to cancel the new lease when they called her. I had to wait because my boss throws a spectacular Christmas party every year and he had already purchased everything for her to be my +1. This party was on a Sunday and I almost ruined everything by being impatient. The Saturday before the party, she went out with friends, which I've never had a problem with, and then she decided to ghost me for the night, which she knew would piss me off and was well within her intentions. So instead of confronting her then, I went to Mike's house. His address was in the messages they sent back and forth, and I put the love book I made for her for Christmas last year in his mailbox. I then drove to my job and slept on the floor of the office. Bruce sent me a message at 4 a.m. saying she had just gotten home. My plan here wasn't for him to find it until he checked the mail on Monday. My plan didn't work out. My assumption is that a neighbor saw me put it in the mailbox and gave him a heads up, because who checks the mail on Sunday? But Beth texted me that Sunday morning after a little bit asking why I would go to Mike's and give him her book. I know that she knows at this point and basically asked her what possible reason I could have for doing such a thing. Her response was basically, "Well, what do you want to do about it?" And I told her, let's make it through the night, have fun at the party, and we would discuss everything the next day. We had fun at the party, went to a comedy show, followed by dinner at a nice restaurant. Everything went fine. My coworkers knew, but were on their best behavior about it. She could tell something was up. She messaged one of her friends saying that she thinks everyone knew and is judging her. They did know, and they were judging her, and I know this because she left her Facebook open on the computer we were sharing. We go home and she goes to bed because she has to be up early for work, and I set the rest of my plan in motion. I slept in the recliner, and after she left for work that morning, I drove down and picked up the U-Haul I had set up for us to move into our new place. I loaded up all of my stuff and took it to storage. She came home, realized what I had done, took her cat, and left for a friend's house. Beth basically says she will be back in the next few days to get her stuff. So the weekend before Christmas comes around and she is waiting until that Sunday while I'm at work to get the rest of her stuff. I tell her to hang out at the house because we need to talk and figure it all out. So she is there Sunday and is doing laundry, waiting for me to get off work. I come in and I just start helping her fold laundry. I ask if her cat is enjoying her friend's house, just small talk. After folding laundry, we go to the living room where I set up my PlayStation because I'm still in the house for a few days and want to play games. As I'm rummaging through wires, I tell her that I'm glad she has a place to go and will be taken care of. She says she is glad for the same thing for me. I scoffed and told her I was basically homeless because of this old situation, and she asked about the other apartment. I just told her I lied. There was no apartment, and it was the only way to get her to cancel the lease we were going to have. She sits in silence for a moment, then goes to the bedroom and starts crying. I wait for a few minutes and hear the dryer finish. Her last load of laundry is done. I grab it and help her fold it and put it in some boxes. I help her out with her stuff. She comes in to make sure she has everything, and as she leaves, I tell her to drive safe and shut the door behind her. Now, the second phase of my plan was the scrapbook that she had made me, which was full of our pictures and concert memorabilia. I was going to wrap it and drop it off at Mike's on Christmas, with a note that says, if she cheats on me, she'll cheat on you. But clarity hit me, and before she could pull out and leave, I ran with the scrapbook I had hidden away and knocked on her car window. She rolled it down and I placed the scrapbook on her seat. She said that she made that for me and that I could keep it. I just looked at her and said, I was going to give it to Mike, but I've already been enough of an a-hole. There are your memories. You keep them. And I went back inside. I spent the last week of December working and using what spare time I had to move the rest of my stuff to storage and clean the apartment before the lease was up. I'm currently on a friend's couch, but have found an apartment in my friend's complex that the landlord said I could have in 2 weeks. Beth and I are done. I love her, but I can't trust her. I watched her lie to my face for about a month. She knew what she was doing and didn't feel guilty about it until she was caught. I'm just going to move on, take some time for myself, lose all the weight I gained while she and I were together, get active again, find hope again. It was a very enduring test of my patience. I pulled patience out of places I didn't know I had. So thank you to all of the Redditors who gave sound advice, and an even bigger thanks to those who wanted to help me be petty. You guys really cheered me up with your gift suggestions and got me through a tough time with the laughs. Well, OP, congratulations. You did what you had to do for yourself. Maybe you didn't take the petty way, and that's absolutely fine because it's irrelevant. All that really matters is that you get yourself to a better place. And Beth is now Mike's problem. Like you say, if she cheated on you, she may as likely cheat on him, but it is not your problem anymore. So OP, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thank you for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Hogwarts Alum 99. My 27 female boyfriend 30 male of 10 months flipped out when I wouldn't keep my clothes at his place anymore. I'm looking for some advice about my relationship with my boyfriend. I don't know where to start and I hope this makes sense. I was disappointed and hurt by my boyfriend's reaction when I approached him about my concerns. Please know, I'm not the petty type, nor do I ignore issues or problems. However, I make every attempt to be civil and calm when I air my concerns. We each have our own place. A few months back, my boyfriend suggested I could keep some of my personal belongings at his house. This is a toothbrush, spare undies, 2 pairs, and PJs, long sleeves, and pants. It made it easier in the sense that I didn't have to pack those items for when I stayed over. I stayed over every other weekend. However, I've noticed that when I use my PJs or undies, they will stay in the hamper until I sleep over again. The first time I washed our clothes at his place, he said he meant to do them but forgot. I said, no problem, but if you don't want to do them, it's no big deal, I will just take my clothes home. and he said it wasn't and agreed it's kind of gross to keep clothes around for 2 weeks unwashed. Nothing changed after this conversation, and this continued for a few more weeks. Except I noticed he wasn't washing his clothes either. Yesterday, I became agitated that I was washing both of our dirty clothes every time I'd stay over. My time went from being with him to being with his washer and dryer while he was raiding or gaming with his friends on his PC. Normally, this type of thing wouldn't bother me, but it's 2 weeks worth of his clothing, plus the PJs and undies I wore the last time I was there. I ended up bringing all my clothes home. As soon as he noticed my clothes were missing, he flipped out. He accused me of leaving him. Not the case at all. I waited until he was done yelling and in a soft, calm voice explained to him that I didn't want to leave my clothes there anymore because they were always dirty and I wanted to clean them. Furthermore, it wasn't fair of him to expect me to wash all of his clothes when I was there. I told him, when I come over, I like us to hang out, but find it difficult when I'm washing all his clothes. He went on about having to work all the time. He works 10-hour days, 4 days a week, while I only go to school. I'm in a full-time post-grad program. Then he told me to grow up, and he hasn't spoken to me since then. Reddit, I'm at a loss. I really don't need him to wash my clothes. Having them there was supposed to be convenient. Instead, it's frustrating. What is going on? Well, OP, I think this would be your boyfriend's immature version of a tantrum? You're not doing what he wants you to do, so he gives you some spiel about how his day is all full and you do nothing. That's super mature. Second, he puts it on you. He tells you that you need to mature. And third, he's giving you the silent treatment. Yeah, this is solid compromise and negotiation skills right here. The maturity personified. OP, you're absolutely right. He's a grown-ass man. He should be doing his own laundry. I mean, he's got the machine for it. It's not like he needs to put things in the bathtub and start scrubbing them or something. So yeah, OP, in summary, I think he wants you to do his laundry and is angry that you're not gonna do it anymore. That to me could be indicative of bigger problems. You need to talk to your boyfriend, clear the air, and find out if you're on proper footing or not. And if not, you move on with your life. And what about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out those community comments. Pringle Lady, nice, says, sounds like the problem solved itself since he stopped talking to you. You're honestly better off no matter what other positive qualities he may have. You've already done everything you can and he has decided that being rational and compromising, if you can even call adulting and doing your own laundry once a week compromising, is just not his thing and that the relationship is not worth the minimal effort this requires. Deleted says, you're in a post-grad program and he doesn't think you're busy. He has a regular 40-hour work week and it's just too much to do his own laundry? I'm calling BS. If anything, you have way more going on since you have classes, homework, research, etc, etc. He is the one who needs to grow up and take responsibility for his actions. What grown man acts like this? He doesn't respect you and wants to treat you like a servant who should have care for his dirty work. He is the one who made it a bigger issue, so you aren't upset over just laundry, but his terribly juvenile and hurtful way he has dealt with you wanting to not do that crap for him. And Sfilae1000 says, holy crap, the entitlement. I really can't grasp his way of thinking. Like, he just assumes it's normal his girlfriend does his laundry? You can be sure it'll only get worse if you two were to move in together. Also, when you have a fixed work schedule and no kids yet, that is, in my opinion, by far the easiest kind of life in terms of doing household chores, especially with a 3-day long weekend. When you're studying and doing research, your schedule tends to be more irregular and there's always a deadline. OP's edit. Thanks everyone for all the replies. I still haven't heard from him. I will update you as soon as possible. I just can't believe how much this hurts. I don't have any issues with his gaming, but unlike him, gaming isn't my only interest and isn't always my idea of quality time. Anyways, I'm turning in for the night. Thanks again. Alright, well the community agrees. The boyfriend is behaving like a giant baby and they think OP should leave him. I'm on that camp too. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. After 3 days of silence, I decided to call it quits. I tried texting him, but he wouldn't respond. Eventually, I called his cell phone and left him a voicemail explaining how deeply hurt I was that he yelled at me and how I felt even worse now that he wouldn't respond to me. I told him I felt that it was important to me to have open and honest communication between the two of us, and since I had no idea where he was or what was happening, I assumed that we were over. I told him I wished him the best and hoped he could find some happiness, and ended the call. 3 minutes later, my phone rings. It's him. I pick up and he starts bawling about how sorry he is and how he didn't want things to get that far, how all he wanted was to be able to play his games in peace, but realized he also wanted me. He asked me to take him back. I told him that he lost my trust and hurt me over a trivial thing. I told him I needed time to think about what I wanted. He hung up, so it's over, officially. Part of me is really sad, but I know I'll get over it. Right now, I just want to focus on myself, and when I do find someone, they will know how to do their laundry. Thanks, Reddit! Well, OP, you gave us a trifecta. Solid spine, you dodged a bullet, and you came out with a learning or silver lining. So now you know that the next time you want to go into a relationship, make sure that they know how to do their laundry. Or that they're willing to learn. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing, OP. Here's wishing you all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.